Yo, secondaries are going to be open up soon because you can submit the MCAS now. So secondaries are next. Let's get ready. We're going to talk about the tips and tricks for secondaries, but the good part is I'm not going to be talking about it. You're going to get advice from people who just got into med school last year because they're way smarter, way more up to date with the times. So let's do it. All right, so this presentation is entirely on secondary tips, but as I said, I probably won't be talking that much, aside from just setting the overview, which is the fact that the basic rule of thumb for secondaries is apply early. Have a lot of your answers pre-written, and I go over a lot of tips and tricks that I learned when I was filling out my own secondaries, and I made a video on it, and it's right here. It's called How to Deal with Secondaries, and then just write my name, and it will pop up on Google. But this is a more updated version because in this video, we're actually going to be talking to multiple students who got into medical school just last year or the year before. So they're hashtag recent. So they know a lot more about the secondary game, and they also know how to utilize the secondaries in a way that they can pretty much benefit you a lot more than you may have thought. And more important than that, each tip that these students are going to give you, they're my friends, and they're also a part of the pre-med group that I kind of host on Facebook, and so that's why we're making this together. But each tip is something that they wish they would have known when they were filling out their secondaries. So without further ado, let's get into the first student.
Hi everyone, my name is Jing and I'm one of Prereq's friends going to VCU School of Medicine. So the biggest tip I would have and what I wish I had done is to be more strategic about approaching secondaries. The most common advice you'll hear is to pre-write secondaries, which is definitely a good idea considering secondaries take a long time, especially if you're applying to 30 schools. But something I wish I had done more was to focus on answering the common prompts rather than going in order based on the dates that I got the secondaries. So for example, some of the most common prompts will be like, what makes you diverse? If you feel stuck for the diversity essay, think beyond just ethnicity for diversity. Diversity can be what unique aspect or perspective can you bring to the field of medicine. So I talked a lot about my love for educating and medical education. Another common essay that you'll see is like, what challenge have you faced? What is something that you're most proud of? What medical field are you interested in and why? And then really focus on developing a solid essay for each of these prompts so that you can adapt these essays to other schools. And that's going to be a lot more helpful than just going in order, and it'll save you a lot of time as well. Also, another thing, a lot of people say that you should submit the secondaries 2 weeks after you get them, but honestly, I think it's better to have a quality essay than a rushed one that you submit earlier. The school I'm going to I didn't submit the secondary until the fall, but I got an interview a few days later. So you never know. Overall, those are just a few of the tips I have, and good luck to everyone applying this cycle.
And next up, we have another MS1 at another medical school this year. And so she's going to give you more tips, and her name is Caroline.
Hi guys, my name's Caroline, and I'm one of Prereq's friends. Last year I applied to 38 USMD programs, and so that was about 38 secondaries that I was having to write between the months of July and August. So as you guys think about what you want to write about and start pre-writing your secondaries, which you should definitely be doing, know that inevitably there's going to be a lot of repeat from your primary. What's going to be important is that you're highlighting a different facet of those experiences. For example, if you write about working in a soup kitchen in your primary, you can still totally write about working in a soup kitchen in your secondary. Just try to highlight maybe a different moment, a different interaction, or a different takeaway from that experience. This will help to kind of prevent you from repeating yourself throughout your application. Another really invaluable tool for me was having a core group of 3 to 4 editors throughout the whole process. So I was actually exchanging essays with 2 to 3 fellow applicants. So those guys were kind of always on standby for me. And then I also had a couple family members that I trusted with my writing and my stories. Having a solid group of 3 to 4 people who are always going to be on standby, who you know are going to give you honest and thorough feedback, who are going to get back to you in 1 to 2 days, so in a timely manner, is going to be really helpful for you. This time is very stressful, and you're going to be finding yourself working at a very fast speed. And so having reviewers, people alongside you who can kind of keep up with you is going to be really important. It will also kind of save you time from having to reach out to new people every single time. So definitely just try to find a core group of 3 to 4 people who can kind of be ready for you whenever you need them. And the last thing that I have to say is definitely take care of yourself throughout this process. Writing was something that didn't come naturally to me, and so it took a lot of time and energy for me to kind of get through these secondaries, to get through 38 of them. And so taking care of myself was really, really important. Accept the fact that you're not going to be able to make a perfect piece of writing within the amount of time that you have, and know that kind of everybody else is in the same position as you. So just do your best. Good luck, everybody. You guys are going to do great.
Next up, we got a homie, Sham. He and I met at Yale, actually. He was an MPH, and now he's in med school. So he's going to drop some knowledge on you guys. He's a smart guy. Let's do it.
Hey everyone, my name is Sham. Nice to kind of virtually meet you all. I'm a second-year med student, about to be a second-year med student at Virginia Tech Carilion. So some advice that I have for secondaries. One thing that I think is always cool to do is kind of be fun and be fresh. And so what I mean by this is if you have a creative idea for how to write a secondary, please try and do it. Do not feel that the secondary is something that's super formal and you have to write it only one way. This is super easy to say and not do, of course, but don't be afraid to have fun with it. A lot of secondaries I've read for friends are fine in that they hit all the checkboxes and answer the prompt and are well written, but something like a poem or a secondary that's littered with jokes and kind of goes for that comedic effect is always something fresh, and it's always something that admissions committees whoever's reading it will be like, oh, like, what is this? This is so different than all the other essays that I've been reading all day. Don't feel obliged to do it for every single essay. Don't feel obliged to do it for any essay if this is not who you are. If you've never written a poem in your life, please do not make the secondary the first time that you attempt to do so. But if it's something that you do like doing, if it fits your personality, then definitely have fun with it. Again, if you go out of your comfort zone, it's probably not going to be that good and it won't match up with your personality in the interview, and that's never a good thing. Second tip I have is do not over-edit your secondaries. I think Caroline talked about how it's really important to have a team of editors at the ready, and I second that 100%. You don't want to burden one person with every single essay that you write and asking them to edit it. It's also important to not lose your voice through the secondaries. By the time you're on draft 5, 6, 7, you start to sound a lot more like a lab report and less like an essay about you. You'll lose your own flair, you'll lose your own style, and it will just sound a lot less genuine, in my opinion. Be careful to try to kind of retain your own voice. And that's all I really have for you, so best of luck applying, and as always, feel free to message me for anything.
To finally cap off this entire presentation, I'm going to have one last piece of advice from Atri, and she's another one of my friends who I work pretty closely with, and she's an incoming MS1 as well, so it's fascinating to see everyone, doing their thing. But her piece of advice was to make sure you use the other section or the additional comments section. So a lot of secondaries may give you is there anything else you want us to know? You should use that section very strategically, and that's kind of what her tip is. And she says that if you are out of state, for example, and you're applying to a public medical school or you're going to a particular region that you may be like, wow, I'm not even from Kansas, but I'm applying to Kansas, use that extra column to talk about any ties you have to the area, or maybe significant other that you have that's bringing you to Kansas, right? So use that space wisely and use it in this regard with a location in mind. Another way you can use that extra space is if a school does not already ask, why us, right? So if a school like Yale didn't ask, why do you want to go to Yale? Feel free to use that extra space that they give you on the secondary to talk about why you want to go to Yale. That's kind of what it's there for. Make a case for yourself, advocate for yourself, because if you don't, no one will, and that's when your application goes to the bottom of the pile. And lastly, use any experience that you have working in healthcare to relate to the healthcare environment of the school that it is that you're applying to. So maybe if your school is near a food desert, and you've lived near a food desert, or if you've had experience making a place that was not easily accessible to grocery shops and whatnot, and increasing that accessibility, talk about that. Because I feel like that really does show that you care a lot about the school, and she makes a great point that you should try to bring it up. So with that, hopefully these tips helped you with your secondaries. As I mentioned, I also have another video. Feel free to check it out. I'm going to link it above, and we'll go from there. So thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.